type 2 diabetes remission. Are you familiar with it? Did you even know that if you're a person diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, that a part of managing type 2 diabetes is remission? Well, I'm your girl, Coach Nick, and welcome to Beautifully Well Conversations. That's what we're going to talk about. So, this conversation is for you if you have been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Maybe you were diagnosed recently, or maybe you're that type 2 warrior who has been aiming to manage your blood sugar levels successfully for a number of years. This conversation is for you. As we get ready to turn the page to a new chapter, 2026, can you believe it? But it's here in a couple of days. That many are looking to set goals and resolutions. I don't believe in resolutions. I just believe that when the new year starts, that for many of us, it gives us an opportunity to evaluate the previous year, look at things we want to do different and better, and we get to use this clean slate, right? We get to turn a page. In our time together, I'm going to talk about type 2 diabetes remission. It's not something I made up, y'all. I mean, if you want to go research this stuff, I'm going to encourage you throughout this conversation to go look this thing up. American Diabetes Association, they've done a lot of research on this. Go check them out. And I'm just going to give you an overview that by the end of our time together, the goals that you have set, I hope that it includes at least engaging in this conversation with your healthcare team. So, this topic is brought to you for educational purposes and empowering purposes only. Coach Nick is not diagnosing and treating you. However, I want you to share this episode with the people you love who are also diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, y'all, because this is a lifestyle driven disease. There's so many environmental factors associated with this. Y'all know I'm a big believer in how stress plays a role in not just our environment that leads us to certain diagnoses. I'm not even going to get into some of the systemic barriers. We're aware of them. But the beauty of this diagnosis, and yes, there's a beauty in this because a type 2 diabetes diagnosis does not define you. It is something that you're managing. But we have to change the stigma, and together collectively, we can start talking more about ways to better our health, because I know it's not easy. It's not easy managing blood sugar that fluctuates and goes up and down when you skip meals or when you eat meals or when you don't get enough of certain foods. When you're in a place where you have so much on your shoulders, so much to manage, your glucose is affected. So we want to be able to talk about remission, because the beautiful thing about remission is that it can happen with guidance. So this is definitely a conversation with your healthcare team. Type 2 diabetes remission happens when your blood glucose levels return to a non-type 2 diabetes range. And what is that range? That range is achieved when your glucose levels, A1C specifically, we're talking about A1C here because you know that an A1C test can determine your blood sugar levels over a period of 3 months. When you achieve an A1C of 6.4 or less, and you're able to maintain glucose at 6.4 or less for 3 months without medication, you are now recognized as someone who has put your type 2 diabetes in remission. A1C percentage at 6.4 or less over a period of 3 months with no medication, which means you've reached that point with sustainable lifestyle changes. So let's talk about this. When we think about remission, remember, remission is not a cure. I did not say reverse your type 2 diabetes. I'm not even going there, y'all, because If right now you are listening to this podcast because you want to do something different, you want to feel good about the health decisions you're making, we have to get to remission first. In order to make remission possible, of course, the support has to be in place. There's clinical support that is needed. And of course, we know the basics, y'all, eating better. But don't you need guidance for that? It's not rocket science that we know the difference between a healthier food option, like a tossed salad with the vinaigrette versus cream dressing, giving us all that extra fat, versus that candy bar we might crave from time to time. Or me, you know, your girl love chocolate chip cookies. And I know when I'm stressing out because I can't wait to have a fountain Coca-Cola. Nutrition plays a major role, just like fitness, moving more is equally important. But to get to the basis for developing a remission plan, y'all know that's the mind work. It is literally preparing yourself to turn a switch, because the way that you are walking in your diabetes health, that strut is going to look a little different when you're considering remission. And here's why. Well, let's talk a little bit about starting this process, right? Because first is awareness. Right now, what is your A1C? You know this because you may even be in a position where you're getting blood work done every 3 months or every 6 months. So let's talk about awareness first so that you can get an idea of what it'll take to begin to look at what a plan of remission could look like. One, you want to know what your A1C is. An ideal candidate for remission, of course, is someone who is currently managing their type 2 diabetes. Someone who has an A1C of 7%. Is that you? If you're walking around with 7% as an A1C, woo, kudos to you, right? You are in glucose management. And just imagine with some extra support, you could be at a 6.4. Like your journey to 6.4 will look a little different than someone whose A1C may be 9, 10. Are you in the double digits? A 5 to 15% weight loss is a key component. But why that 5 to 10% should be clinically guided, because we want to make sure that 5 to 10% weight loss affects your body fat percentage. It's the fat accumulation that affects insulin sensitivity. It's that excessive fat that can make it difficult for the liver and the pancreas to function and do what it is supposed to do. So when we're considering weight loss, we're not talking about quick fads. We're not talking about quick fixes, because it also needs to be monitored so that weight loss is coming from where we need it to. Body fat percentage, not muscle, not water weight. And we can help you with that. When we talk about remission and we begin to talk a little bit more about what nutrition looks like, of course, a program designed to help you reach that route has to have the support, nutrition support, professionally guided support from nutrition specialists and registered dietitians. The flow of how you get to eating better to manage type 2 into remission is important. And it's deeper than just eat half your plate and veggies. That's important too. The diabetic plate, half your plate and veggies, a quarter of your protein. The other quarter can be, starches and your grains. But the reality is, in order to make remission part of your goal, is to first recognize where you are in your journey and identify how much support you need. And realistically, what will it take to get you there? Clinical support and a team and a program, because y'all know I'm only talking about this because we offer the program. And we're a support to your healthcare team, because remission only happens over a 3-month period without medication, which means medication management and support from your clinical team is highly important. What you need to do right now in order to successfully manage your type 2 diabetes, no doubt, includes a treatment plan provided by your physician. No doubt, you may even be seeing an endocrinologist. So, your next step, once you have determined this is something you are willing to go for, to look after, think about when is your next appointment with your healthcare team. When do you see your primary care physician? Or when are you sitting in front of an endocrinologist? And begin to have the conversation about remission and ask them, what are the next steps? How can you lay out that plan? I also want to share this because you are a warrior. You got this. And I'm not just saying it because after this conversation, you're empowered. Maybe you never even heard of the term remission for type 2 diabetes, but now you know. And not only do you know that there is a program available to you as a person diagnosed with type 2 diabetes who is looking for the support needed to actually manage the illness, right? You are not alone and you do not have to do this alone. So, what I want you all to do is share this episode, listen to it on repeat, go have that conversation with your healthcare team, and get excited about the fact that you can turn the page, flip the page on your current diabetes plan of action. You can incorporate this amazing journey in a healthy lifestyle by allowing yourselves to be given a chance to manage blood sugar levels effectively with the goal of type 2 diabetes remission. Well, it's your girl, Coach Nick. Another beautifully well conversation. Stay tuned for the next.